Hey, welcome everyone to Wizards Pregame. We got Carter Dudley Jr. here. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. The Washington Wizards continue their stretch of play. They had 3 games in the past 4 days. Had a night off. Tonight they're on the road in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. Charlotte's coming off back-to-back losses to the Pistons and the Cavs. The Hornets have won just 4 more games on the season than the Wizards have. This is a 9-win team taking on a 5-win team. Washington enters this game after that 3-game stretch I mentioned. They played the Spurs twice with a game against Memphis on the road in between the Spurs games. The first San Antonio game was on the road. Then they went to Memphis. They beat Memphis 130 to 122 and then lost those bookend games against the Spurs with different culprits in that went in those games, Wemby being a consistent, and then we saw different the Spurs bevy of guards, different members stood out on different nights. If you want to get a chance to see us break those games down, head back over the channel to check those out. But Carter, we have some big news coming out today. Before we get the keys to the game and everything, injury wise, I'm gonna get this up on the screen for folks. But Washington Wizards guard Ford Ken Whitmore has been diagnosed with upper extremity deep vein thrombosis. Whitmore was evaluated after missing the previous 2 games with right shoulder soreness. Whitmore is expected to be sidelined indefinitely. His progress and recovery will be monitored, and his status will be updated as appropriate. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, this news that, I think Shams had it last night, and then, the Wizards officially announced it today.
Well, one praise up to, I call him Killer Cam. That's my nickname for him. I love how, he's ferocious when he attacked the basket, when, he has tunnel vision. He could put points on the board in a hurry. Obviously a talented young player. Once he figure out how to put everything together, the rest of his game to match what he does offensively with his athleticism, man, he could be a special player in this league. But this situation is no joke. Blood clots. I don't know. People remember, Chris Bosh, all former All-Star champion, All NBA forward. My class 2002. He had to retire because of blood clots. That's a dangerous thing, man. Like that blood. If the blood clot travels, we gonna have a very messed up situation on our hands, and no one wants to see that in the middle of a game or practice. You get that word, man. It's been some situation where that has happened in the past, and you don't want that, man. It's a serious situation. For people that don't know what it exactly is. I have some notes up. Upper extremity, uh, deep vein thrombosis is a blood clot in your arms, deep veins, often subclavian and auxiliary veins, causing swelling, pain, redness, or heaviness, sometimes triggered by catheters, pacemakers, trauma, infection, or cancer. And it requires treatment. Um, it's various treatments that can go into it, but regardless, it's basically a blood clot. So you can't take it lightly, man. Especially in your arm. Basketball players, come on, you get hit in your arms all the time, even when you ain't moving. You can just stand there, guy just come and play the defense, or even you just putting your arm up. You might be trying to get a little edge, push them so you can get open. You coming off screens, literally. If you coming off a screen, they teach you shoulder to shoulder. Well, what if that clot is in the vein and it hit his shoulder? You see what I'm saying? It's too dangerous, man. And I know he was sitting on, we don't gotta sugarcoat it, man. He was in the doghouse a little bit, you know what I mean? But we know they was gonna put him back out there sooner or later. So for him to face this is just disheartening. You don't want to see nobody go through this, and I don't care what walk of life, because you kind of in a way staring some dangerous situation in the face, man. You don't want that. So I pray that they find a solution, because Wemby had it. That shut down his season last year. He's bounced back and he's even better. So I'm hoping Cam comes back even better, and has a different outlook on things, especially as far as the game, where he just come back with a vengeance. Like, I'm just trying to make up for lost time, because I couldn't imagine, obviously, when he entered the draft that 2-3 years down the line, he look at his career like, damn, this went this way. Pretty sure he felt like he was gonna hit the ground running or something. You know what I mean? And it just shows you he's super talented. Obviously covering him in high school and AAU plenty of times. it was child's play, to be frank. But the league is a whole different animal. The league is real. So, look, I'm just praying for his recovery. He bounced back and come back and be even bigger and better, and then help transform the Wizards, get them back on the winning track.
For sure, obviously, I'm right with you. Having the prayers that he has a speeding recovery through this. As you mentioned some other players. You mentioned Wemby and Chris Bosh. Asar Thompson dealt with this at the end of the 23-24 season. Christian Koloko got sidelined for the entire 23-24 season. Brandon Ingram, this happened back when he was with the Lakers. Missed the end of the 2018-2019 season.
That's true.
Dame Lillard had it in his right calf. So like Bosh, it was in the lower extremity first in early 2025. So there's examples of folks that have dealt with it and bounced back. But like you said, it is something that's very serious, can be severe. And obviously, nobody wants it to happen where with Chris Bosh ended up being where it was a reoccurring situation where it just obviously wasn't, if you're going to deal with it that much, it's reoccurring. Even if you weren't a professional athlete, that's how to deal with. Like,
right, it's not worth it. Especially, you get our age and you get older and you got a family to look after, man. Like, nah, it's just not worth the risk.
Right. Back to tonight's game with the injury report. That's Cam Whitmore's right now is the only Wizard that has been ruled out. For the Hornets, they'll be without youngster Ryan Kalkbrenner, no Mason Plumlee, and no Grant Williams. Cardell, so the question to you is, what challenges do the Hornets present as the Wizards try and get back into the win column as we get to your keys to the game?
Well, the Wizards play a bigger, faster pace. But the Hornets with LaMelo controlling the rock, they can play at that pace. And last time, man, he already done killed them, this season. I think he had a monster triple-double. Then they came back in D.C., him and Miles Bridges in the second half went crazy, and they came back and beat him. So we already know what he's fully capable of. The main thing with the Hornets is always the same thing: is they get up a lot of 3-pointers. They're not the most efficient team, but they get up a lot of 3-pointers. They 6th in the league in 3-point attempts, just a little over 40. So they're 17th in 3-point shooting percentage. 35%, just under 36. So look. They're gonna throw a lot of them up there, so you got to guard the 3-point line. Because if they see a few get in, they got a handful of guys where it can get crazy, where they can just start bombing away, and then they're impossible. You know what I mean? Because LaMelo's already a handful with the way he can score, facilitate, rebound, manipulate pick and roll actions, and he could just destroy you with runners and floaters, and he kill you in such a way it is. Like the 3-pointers are loud because they so deep, you remember those. But the floaters and the runners and the layups, that's what kills you. And, he hit a few threes. You be like, all right, man, he got like 9. But then you look at the scoreboard, he got like 19. What the fuck? And because you ain't paying attention to all the floaters and the runners and stuff that's going on, man. So it's hard to keep him out the paint because he knows how to manipulate pick and roll, sideline, pick and roll, the top of the key, all that. And then you got Knuckle, who's damn sure I don't know if he's rookie of the year. He damn sure gonna be on the first team. You know what I'm saying? All rookie team. For sure. You got guys like him that can fill it up. I already talked about Miles Bridges, who actually leads them in scoring 20.9. He killed them the last time in DC when they had that comeback. Brandon Miller, monster. Like he has a lot of promise, man. So the only thing is you say Kalkbrenner, but remember the last time they came to DC, they had that comeback, and I brought up Musa Diabate, and I was like, you got high motor kids, super athletic.
Yeah.
There you go. So it doesn't matter. Like you got to still watch him, man. And Sion James and all those guys, man, the defender type guys, man. You gotta, look, they kind of in the same boat as the Wizards. They got a young core they're trying to develop. And build, add the right type of veterans around the young core. And as the years go along, they're going to start to weed out the young players that don't fit as they add more and more veterans to try to build this thing into winning. And then they're going to ship those guys out. So yeah, it's a lot to prove on both sides outside. But yeah, you gotta defend the 3-point line. Obviously, they get high, it could be a long night. And then on top of that, you can't put them on the free throw line. They're 4th in the league in free throw percentage. 81.6%. You got to keep them off the free throw line, man. So the Wizards going to have to guard without fouling, which should be the case anyway, game in, game out. But nonetheless, man, it's easier said than done. Again, we all know who leads the way in that regard. LaMelo, Miles Bridges, super athletic, tough, physical wing that can get downhill and shoot threes and stuff now. So yeah, man, it's a tall order, but it's not an impossible order. You know what I mean? So the Wizards gotta defend. You gotta run them off the line. If you gotta dig down, or if you gotta step inside the paint to stop a driver, you gotta get back out to the 3-point line. You gotta stay in front of them. You can't foul. Can't use your hands. You just gotta play sound defense, man. Make it tough. Even if they're hitting shots at first, eventually, if you're playing sound defense, the percentages will start to turn in your favor, and they'll start missing. Then you got to rebound, then you get extra possessions, and then on the other end, you got to execute. You got to score. Don't take bad shots. Damn sure don't turn the ball over. Lord knows you do that with them. It's gonna be a long night, and just play sound defense, because one bad thing about the Hornets, they will turn the ball over. They average just over 16 turnovers a game. That's 27th in the league. So they'll give you chances. It's just, you can't give them chances.
Yeah, until you point about that 3-point shooting, they got 4 people shooting at least 40% from the floor, 40% from 3. So like you said, you cannot let them catch fire at all. You mentioned Diabate, and instantly the thoughts come flooding back from the last meeting, because he wrecked that game once he came in for Washington. And then with the Wizards, there's a chance to get, they're starting their backup center back. We were talking about how good that duo has been this year at times when they've both been available in terms of Sarr and Bagley. And I know, Vuk did a good job, was productive, in a couple games against the Spurs and whatnot. But yeah, they need to get back to owning the paint, and you have to tonight. And like you said with LaMelo, everything he does inside the 3-point line is just quiet. It quietly adds up. And then, like you said, you have that moment of how did we get here? And he is deadly in the pick and roll. And then I'm anxious to see if Washington's guards can continue to build upon. We saw, I know they lost against San Antonio, but Bub and Trey had good games. That was one of the positives that came out of that loss. Was, we've seen Bub over the last 7, maybe 6 or 7 games kind of start to look like Bub again and get going. We saw Trey now that he's, a couple games back after being out for a little bit. But yeah, they just can't turn the ball over, man. It's the evergreen things we talk about. Do not wait. Throw the first punch. The last 3 games we watched, how many times this season, let alone the last 3 games, has it been, Washington responded? And it's just a matter of how many times did that response result in a W. How about you initiate, that run? Play with that same energy you have when it's time to respond. Lead with that so you don't have to respond. And let's see what happens. Who knows what the outcome might be if you lead it's wire to wire with you being the aggressor.
And with Kalkbrenner being out and Mason Plumlee out as well, Alex Sarr, Marvin Bagley, go to work. Go to work. What are we waiting on? Hey, go to work. This is the game to dominate. Both of y'all. And you're going to have to match the energy of Diabate, because that's why he's in the league. He's super athletic. He's 6'10". He's 210 undersized, so he's not going out muscle those guys out the paint, especially Sarr with his development physically over the off season and whatnot. And Marvin Bagley's a vet. He's not going to just do that to them. So his motor and athleticism is what helps him get around guys, get boards, block shots, just be annoying. You know what I mean? So you offensive putbacks, lob plays, dunks and stuff. So man, bring the energy. You know what I mean? You got to. I'm trying to look up what he had last. Yeah, Diabate when they was here in DC, Hornets beat the hell out of 139-113. 12 and 10 off the bench in 23 minutes. Yeah, 12 and 3. Let me see. 2 blocks, 4 offensive rebounds, 1 turnover, 4-9 from the field, 4 or 5 from the free throw line. That's what I'm saying. And LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges woke up in that quarter, because I think, if I recall, the Wizards had the lead. Yeah, the Wizards had the lead at the half, 62. They was up 62-51. 51, and then they just allowed 88 points in the second half.
Yep.
And that's when LaMelo woke up. The Abalte started going, and Miles Bridges went crazy. So I think Miles Bridges had like 6, and then there was a big old thing where LaMelo got on him ahead. So I'm like, yo, where you at, dog? Wake up. And he woke up, and then LaMelo woke. LaMelo had 38, 13, and 13. 13 and 25, 5 or 12.
That's the game where Miles had a couple wild dunks off lobs from LaMelo. I think in that fourth quarter, like you said, he definitely woke up.
Yep, 3 steals. LaMelo dominated that game. 38, 13 to 13. That's pissed off Magic Johnson numbers.
You just can't afford that, at all. You just can't. And just to solidify everything as far as the injury report, you've been with us. You guys have been with us on pregame. It's always up and down. Information it changes. It's always fluid. But they do have Marvin Bagley, Bilal Coulibaly for tonight's game. Sorry, Coulibaly, Bagley, all back. We have some comments Cardell wanted to get to before we get out of here. So let me get those. And appreciate your comments. And it's Crocs with no socks. Just tuning in. Appreciate the pregame coverage and looking forward to the game tonight. Prayers up for Cam and hope he takes all the time he needs to recover. Happy holiday, fellas. Catch y'all after game.
I wish you over all of that. Happy holidays to you.
Wizards need to bring the stamina in this game. I'm interested to see Bub go up against Colin Sexton tonight. Saw a clip of those two working together during the summer.
Why you make that face?
I'm just trying to be mature.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna touch that. But they obviously want to know each other's game. From just playing against each other all summer in the league. So, that's gonna be a nice little battle. But again, everything starts with LaMelo Ball. And if he's able to come in their home arena and give them 38, 13 to 13, I'm pretty sure he's a lot more comfortable at home. So they definitely need to bring the stamina and the energy, all hands on deck. But they gotta find a way to slow him down. Everything feeds off of him, and if they don't slow him down, it could be another repeat of what we saw here in DC.
Pretty much. And for tonight, there's no post game tonight, but we appreciate you tuning in for pregame. We will be back on our regularly scheduled programs after the holidays for Friday and Sunday's game. We'll have pregame and post game as usual. So Crocs with no socks and everybody else, you guys enjoy your holidays as well. We will see you guys Friday evening, twice Friday evening for Wizards pre and post game. You guys enjoy tonight's game.